All right, guys, Coach Laird here. Video today, the definition of insanity when it comes to hitting lessons. So, we work with a lot of kids at Laird's Training. We're constantly trying to improve them. We're constantly trying to develop guys. We're trying to constantly hit them, hit a peak or hit a ceiling and bust through that ceiling they're not even aware of. To maximize your hitting lessons, one, you have to buy into the process. And two, you have to communicate and have a conversation with your coach. Now, there isn't a kid that I work with that I don't love working with. I wouldn't be working with them. I would just boot them if I didn't want them in my lessons. We've turned, like we said before in other videos, we've turned kids away. However, if you are going to a hitting instructor and they change something, they work on something, and there's some improvement from that change, and you go off on your own and you start doing your own thing and going back to the old thing you're doing just because it's more comfortable, that is the definition of insanity. So if something you've been doing is not working and you continue trying to do that thing or revert back to that thing, okay, I'm gonna turn this light on so you can't see me. That is the definition of insanity. And I cannot stress enough, if a coach or instructor is giving you guidance, is giving you drills, is telling you how to do things, you have to implement them. You have to do them. If you don't execute that coach's prescription and you show up the next week and go, well, I'm not doing better, I'm struggling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that is like a doctor telling an overweight person to start cutting calories, and they don't do that. They continue to eat like they are, and they're not losing weight, and the first thing they're going to do is, well, this isn't working because I'm not losing weight, when in fact they're not even following the rules in the prescription in the first place. You have to be willing, and this is important, and I say this all the time, you have to be willing to fail trying to do it right before you actually succeed doing it right. How many times in life have you done something and you've done something wrong? You did something incorrect. You learned from that experience, right? And you got better for it because you learned the right way to do it by doing it wrong. Or you're trying to implement something that you're struggling with and you can't execute, you can't execute, and then all of a sudden one day it just clicks. That's learning. That's getting better by doing. You're not going to get better by doing unless you implement the work. There is no profession in the world that you can get better at going through the motions and doing it 1 hour a week or part-time. You've got to be willing to put in the work every single day. And if you have a drill or you have a prescription or you have something that a coach wants you to do and you're not doing it and you're not getting better, there's a problem. And you're looking in that, when you're looking in the mirror, that's the problem. Okay? And I'm not saying this to be mean. I had a coach, I had this conversation with a kid that I work with. I love working with. He's an awesome young man. I love to death working with him. But sometimes kids and young men need a kind of a kick in the ass and like, hey, like, you can't be upset about something not working if you're not doing the something you're supposed to be working on, if you're not implementing it. And that's the thing is when most kids in hitting lessons, and this happens all the time, like, I'll tell a kid to do a drill. I had a kid earlier today at like 5 o'clock, a kid that I told to do a drill over and over the last 3 weeks, he's not doing it. And he's still struggling to get better. He's had minimal results from it. You're not going to improve just doing the drill during that hour with that instructor. Okay? I'm a huge believer in doing drills and getting rhythm and teaching timing and teaching rhythm and timing tempo through drills, or teaching back path, rotation of the hips through drills. I'm a huge advocate of that. You have to break the swing down and create constraints with hitters in order to get better. But the definition of insanity is doing what you've always done. And I'm going to leave it with this. If you do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you got. Period. You have to change in order to grow. You have to ask questions to understand what change means. If you have trouble putting the words into action, you need to ask questions so your coach or your instructor can break it down in a way that helps you get it. Period. You have to buy in, you have to communicate. The definition of insanity is ignoring those two things and always doing what you always done. Players Training, out.